Mr. Frank, time now for
It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans.
Jump, 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 bam.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived to hear from the man himself, Ariel Helwani. Live from the Box Studios in beautiful New York City, it's On the Nose. And now, to answer your questions, get out of your seats and on your feet because here he is, Ariel Helwani.
Thank you very much to Mike Heck for that intro. Thank you, as always, to moderator Lewis, who does such a great job compiling the best questions of the week. Let's not waste any time. Let's start with P the G. How many fights away from the title is Tommy Aspinall if he gets the job done on Saturday? I'd personally love to see him versus Jones in London if he gets a couple more wins. It's a very good question. Here's what I would do if I were the UFC. We already know that November the 11th, John Jones is fighting Stipe Miocic at Madison Square Garden. And by the way, this is just an early spoiler. If you're a fan of the program and if you are attending that event, I would just circle November 10th on your calendar. That's the day before. That's all I'm saying. You're not going to get anything else out of me. November 10th on the calendar. Keep it open. More to come. As they like to say in the business, Frank, watch this space. You know what I'm talking about? Actually, absolutely. Yeah, a couple trips coming up for the crew, which is fun. I'll tell you more about that.
Wait, what?
Well, we might not have been invited. Next week, we'll tell you more about one of the upcoming trips. Anyway, exciting times here at the MMA Hour HQ. So November 11th, we got John Jones versus Stipe. It's a done deal. What I would do, if Tom Aspinall wins on Saturday, and I do believe he should be the favorite, and I believe he's going to look great. He appears to be in great shape. Obviously, when you come off an injury like that, there is some trepidation, but I think he should beat someone like Marcin Tybura, as good as Tybura looks from a physique standpoint at the moment. I would put Tom Aspinall versus Sergey Pavlovich on that MSG card as a number one contender fight. Why? Tommy Aspinall fighting in New York City is great. A lot of Brits here. Some of the great British boxers have come over here and fought here and have drawn well. I think it would just be good for him to get out of the O2. It's been a while since he fought out of the O2. B, Pavlovich as well, big Russian community here. The fight makes sense, but also it's on the same card as the heavyweights. I don't think they'd put another title fight on that card. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. There are a couple guys waiting for an assignment. Great. If not, that's a very good co-main event if he's coming off a win and Sergey's doing his thing. Now, the question is, I believe Stipe is retiring, win or lose, on November 11th. I think if he wins, he walks away. I think if he loses, he walks away. I don't know if I feel as strongly about Jones. I know there's been some talk of that, but I can't say it as definitively. If Tom Aspinall has a great win on November 11th against Sergey, if that all pans out, and John wins, that would just be an incredible fight. And I feel like there would be enough momentum behind Tom where John would take the fight. I think what his issue is with everyone past Stipe is that there's no one out there that really gets him excited. But I feel like after those two wins, this Saturday and November 11th, if it all goes down like that, he would be open to it. This is just me. There's a lot of things that need to happen before we get to that point. So that said, we're talking about 2 wins away, right? We're talking about this Saturday, and I do think he would need one more after Marcin. That's my opinion. Nick the Dane. Gang, which match does bigger numbers? Francis versus Tyson, October 28th, Saudi Arabia, or Nate versus Jake, August 5th, Dallas. Mother hell. That's a tough one. Which does bigger numbers? Okay, my answer is going to be Nate versus Jake for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's in prime time. It's at night in America. It's during the summer. There's not a lot of competition. I know there's a UFC card that night, which is actually pretty solid. Corey Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov, the return of Tatiana Suarez against Jessica Andrade in Nashville. There's also SummerSlam going on at the same time. Saw a thing yesterday where Logan Paul was talking to Seth Rollins. Saw this on Jedi's page, and he said that he's going to try to open SummerSlam, first match of the night, and then get on a plane and fly from Detroit to Dallas to be there in time for his brother's fight. And then I saw some people saying like, oh, so typical Logan, what an egomaniac, making it all about him. I kind of felt like that was like just like a nice brother thing to do. Am I wrong? Am I reading that wrong? Am I too naive?
What he meant.
Like he's getting on the plane, wants to go support his brother. I mean, very rare that they'd be competing on the same night. I kind of hate that they're competing on the same night because I wanted to go to SummerSlam. I love covering those big events, but not happening this time. I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. But anyway, August 5th, prime time, as opposed to October 28th, happening in Saudi Arabia, happening during the day, happening during football season. Just feels a little bit different. I would say that Nate and Jake combined are bigger and more popular than Francis and Tyson combined. Does anyone disagree with this? I don't know if Rick is here. GC, do you agree or disagree with this statement?
Oh, well, Rick is here. I can speak on it.
All right, well, you can speak on it too. Do you disagree?
No. In terms of like overall popularity,
what does better? I say Nate versus Jake. Agree or disagree?
I mean, all the reasons that you pointed out make sense for Jake and Nate.
Yeah. And I think them two combined bigger than Tyson and Francis combined, right?
Popularity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree, Rick?
What's the metric? What are we measuring?
Fuck. It could have just been. It could have just been.
What are we measuring?
Yes or no?
Social buzz, pay-per-views.
Pay-per-views.
I think Tyson and Francis.
I actually am with Rick. Like pay-per-views is a different question. More eyes on it.
No, I think you're wrong about this. I'm sorry. Nate Diaz is a bigger pay-per-view draw. Would you say Nate Diaz of the four is the biggest pay-per-view draw?
I would.
Would you?
I would agree.
Okay. Is Tyson?
Although Tyson's a pretty big
in America.
pay-per-view draw.
In America, in the UK, yes. In America, is he a known pay-per-view?
He's done some ESPN Plus pay-per-views that have done okay.
In the end, though, you got to pick one. What will draw bigger numbers?
If we're going pay-per-views, I do think I'll say this. Here's how I'll put it. Jake and Nate's appeal is kind of here no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Like they can raise the ceiling because if they get into an altercation or some kind of pushing and shoving at a face-off, that'll take it through the roof. But I do feel like the floor is pretty high for that one. For Francis and Tyson, it depends on the promotion a lot. Like, how is this going to look?
Yeah.
What are they going to look like?
How's it going to feel? Yeah.
How's it going to feel? The ceiling is lower. I mean, sorry, the floor is lower in my opinion, but the ceiling might be a little bit higher. So yeah, that's where I'm at. But I think Jake and Nate is like a given, where like they only have upside, and if something happens that really pushes the envelope, then the ceiling comes off on that one.
If I had to pick one, I say Jake and Nate does better numbers.
Yeah.
Can I also say something? Here we are, July 19th. I think Saturday will be the 22nd. So we'll be 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
I think it was last week or maybe it was 2 weeks ago where I was like, I'm starting to feel the buzz. Nate is doing some media. Jake is doing some media. There's some good back and forth. I saw the quote that you guys posted from Nate's recent interview with, what was it, Raw something?
Bradley Martin.
What is that?
Oh, yeah.
By the way.
He's a fitness influencer.
Oh. Anyway, like
he's the one who thought he could beat up Devin Haney. I don't know if you saw that a while back.
Wait, he thinks he beat up Nate, and he interviewed Nate?
That's his big thing. I mean, he's huge. Like he's giant.
Was it a good interview?
I only saw the snippet where he was talking about MMA.
Anyway, he gave us in that clip that you posted, like the quote graphic where you talked about like this guy's going around disrespecting Conor's wife, disrespecting. It's like we have a why. That was the one thing that I think was missing from the press conference. What is the why? Why is this happening? What's the reason? What are we trying to settle? And I feel like we're finally getting to the why. Jake is talking shit about him. He's making fun of him.
His position is Jake's talking shit about all these MMA guys.
Yeah.
And none of them are doing anything about it. And he's like, I'm going to do something about it, which is a good justification. I buy that.
I like it. Now is the why. Now we have the why. I'm going to do this. By the way, this is the one thing that Tyron and Ben Askren and even Anderson never said, that we all wanted them to say. We're going to do this on behalf of the MMA community. Now, I don't know if I'm putting words in his mouth there, But that was my interpretation. Like, I'm going to shut this guy up on behalf of the MMA community. And I sort of love the fact that the lone wolf, Nathan Diaz, is doing something on behalf of everyone. Y'all couldn't figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. That's pretty freaking sweet. By the way, yesterday.
Yeah, it's a good angle.
It is a great angle.
A lot.
That is the angle. That is the best angle. Yesterday, what a mistake this was. Just as I was going to bed, I wanted to see something on YouTube. I forget what it was. And I somehow stumbled upon a 3-way interview between Jake, Aiden Ross, and Andrew Tate.
Oh, yeah, I saw this too.
What in the world?
I'm assuming you're talking about Jake being like, Nate is here.
Yes. And they believed him.
That was pretty funny. I actually.
No, I know, but like
for a second, I believe
he left, and they were like, "Oh my god, is he coming? Is he not?" I was like, "There's no chance that he's coming." What do you think? He's just gonna go call him from the other room? What is happening here? That was is that a show? What is that? Is that like a weekly thing?
I think Aiden Ross and Andrew Tate just like hop on. I want to say Rumble. I think they hop on Rumble together, and they just kind of
that was
shit.
Wild, man.
And then Jake jumped on, and Dana was supposed to be on yesterday, but he no-showed him.
It's tough.
But
QV, it's tough.
Jake comes with the hat on backwards.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, Tate's not wearing a shirt. He's smoking a cigar. I'm like, man, this can't be comfortable to do a show like this. But maybe it's.
No, I think that's how he always does it.
Also, they were talking about a potential fight between them. I remember that was the thing. The first time I ever found out who Andrew Tate was, by the way, it was someone telling me that, like, oh yeah, that would be the biggest fight for Jake. I was like, what? Who is this guy? And then I was completely.
Wait, so you weren't aware of kickboxer version Andrew Tate?
No.
Before he was like the toxic influencer guy?
Maybe.
Let me flip that question.
Potential
you were
sex
aware of
trafficker,
kickboxer Andrew Tate?
You're talking to Rick.
Yeah. When he was a kickboxer, you were fully aware of him?
Oh, yes. Oh,
that
yes.
seems more
100%.
shocking
That's how I know him.
Not knowing him.
No, that's how I know him. He was a kickboxing troll. He was a Twitter gangster saying all this stuff about how he's the greatest kickboxer and people need to follow him and this and that. That's exactly how I remember him.
No.
I mean, I'm not surprised that you wouldn't know just because you weren't as clued into the combat sports world. And I'm not surprised that Rick does know him because he is way more clued into the kickboxing world than any of us. So the name sounded somewhat vaguely familiar, but no, I'd be lying if I said I was aware. And then when someone mentioned that he became this gigantic star and that would be the biggest fight, and I remember they did a fake face-off and that got like insane numbers. I was like, what in the world?
I mean, I think a fight between them would do pretty crazy numbers.
Yeah, or Logan, right? I think there's an actual beef there with Logan. Who the hell knows? Chisanga. Hello, Chisanga. Malata, my guy. Hola, Ariel. I hope you're well, despite you not giving me the heads up that you were visiting TalkSport a mere 2 floors above my office last month. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I was like in and out. I didn't even know that was where your office is, so I apologize. It was great to be there, though. I enjoyed it very much. You are, however, forgiven as you are mentioned. Thank you. And by the way, speaking of the UK, shout out to my friends over at TNT Sports for their big rebranding yesterday. Did you guys see that? The big rebranding for TNT Sports? They put out a big press release with all the new faces and all the old faces.
That's great.
Yeah, I had to field a lot of questions because conspicuous by his absence was old Helwani. I mean, no mention, no picture, no nothing. But I do want to let everyone know, still here. In fact, I'll be a part of the Spence Crawford coverage for them on July 29th. So still here. I don't need a mention. You think I need a blurb and a press release? I don't need that. I'm no frills, right? Cool, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. I
Appreciate
guess,
that.
man.
No, that was good stuff. It's good stuff.
No.
I thought you were coughing again.
Yeah.
A simple Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou question here. Does Francis pull a Conor McGregor when he makes his ring walk in Saudi and have his team hoist the lineal UFC heavyweight title in the air as he strides to the ring? It would be quite the sight. Wow. Chisanga, I love the way you're thinking. And then afterwards, he pulls a Medusa / Alundra Blaze and drops it into the garbage can. I don't know if he'll go that far.
Does that take away from Francis a bit?
How so?
From the perspective of like, I've moved on.
Yeah.
I've won the game. Like, do I want to dig back up digging back up the ties to the UFC? To me, almost feels like a step backward in
like
Francis's
he's holding on
arc,
to it,
right?
like he needs that for validation.
if I'm Francis, my goal is to show people I don't need the UFC.
Yeah.
And I don't need the UFC's belt any longer. I'm a champ. He's said it many times and eloquently. He's a champion forever, right? Like no matter what he does, he's a champ. And it almost feels to me like you're going backwards, like you're pulling the UFC back into the equation when it's like, I'm fine on my own. I'm good. Like, let me just run. I'm boxing Tyson Fury. What's anybody got to say now? You know what I mean? Like, it almost feels like holding on to that a bit.
Okay. You're right. I like that.
I will say the spectacle of him coming out with the belt and like tossing it is great. I'm not mad about it. I would love to see it. But at the same time, like, I feel like his mentality might be going a different direction.
Okay. So then let me counter with this. He talked about a press conference tour. And I would be shocked if they come to the U.S. just because I don't think Tyson can come to the U.S. at this point. But Africa, England, Saudi would be incredible. Yeah. Especially Africa. That would be. Could you imagine the scene there? That would be amazing. Should he pull a Medusa and drop it in the bin?
If you're gonna do it, maybe that's the time, right? The first kind of thing, you do it and then you move on from it. So could be the first face off.
Or is that too?
You've got it, and then
does that then take away from the accomplishments because they're trying to sell him as the ex-UFC champs, and you're like, I don't care about that.
Yeah, I don't think we throw it in the trash.
Okay, all right.
I feel like he's not going to bring it out at all.
He's not going to
bring it. A little dramatic.
All right,
throwing it in there.
Look it up.
Look, this is a circus. This is a circus. This is a circus fight. We're in the circus. We're in the circus business. Like, this is what this is. So like.
What is,
it would get
what
people
is the
talking.
Statement, though? What is the statement? Where
I'm bigger.
He's coming for the.
I fought the law
belt?
and I won.
Okay, all right. He's bigger than the belt.
Yeah.
I fought.
This is what I think of your belt. It's garbage. Like whatever John Jones is wearing is trash. I'm beyond it.
Man.
But Francis seemed. I don't know. It doesn't seem in Francis's character.
No,
if I'm being honest,
at all. It doesn't. Keep it at home.
But a first face off with even.
Trophy case.
You know how like they do the belt face-offs like and sometimes like Colby Covington or Chael would show up with a belt that wasn't the real belt. There is something to the spectacle of like Tyson having his WBC title and Francis having a UFC title, even though neither of those is up for grabs or relevant. Just for a photo op, the first picture, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, the photo op would be sick. I'm with you. If he brings the belts so they can all take pictures with the belts, I like that.
That would be cool.
I see a way, but I do think ultimately he's not telling a UFC story. He's telling a Francis Ngannou story, and we'll kind of go the other way.
Will there be a belt on the line? Didn't they make one for the Tommy and Jake fight?
In the end,
a new belt.
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Baddest man on the planet belt. In the end,
boxing loves that. Boxing loves that.
Because the
BMOP belt?
because the belt thing is kind of the big sticking point here because people are upset that he's not defending the title. I think they'll stay away from it. I do think in the end it will count on their records, as it should. But
I can't lie. Yeah. The Tommy Fury belt was pretty cool looking. The black.
Jacob, howdy Ariel and crew from where my favorite athlete of all time, Robbie Lawler, started his career. Bettendorf, Iowa. Wow. Used to be a hotbed of mixed martial arts. I remember watching him KO Matt Lindland in Strikeforce when I was just 4 years old. Holy smokes. You are young. One of my favorite KOs of all time back in the day. I was there. Haven't missed a fight live since. Still buzzing. Wait, you haven't missed a fight since you were 4? I mean, that was like really in the midst of his career. I call cap on that. You're 5 years old watching Robbie Lawler fight against Josh Koscheck in Anaheim? Nah. Anyway, still buzzing over his beautiful retirement. But that's besides the point. Apologies for the glazing. I have 2 questions today. My first is for my old friend, the often imitated and never duplicated New York Rick. They don't call you a fantastic social media director. They call you New York Rick. With Paulo Costa's recent pullout of 291, and is that even fair to call it a pullout? I don't even think he was ever in, to be honest. But it has made for fantastic social content. Maybe that's where we're going here. Should we take those Dana announcement videos seriously? Okay, that's not where we're going. It seems he has a tendency of announcing things the fighters, 1, aren't aware of, or 2, not signed on the dotted line. By the way, speaking of which, like the announcement that I'm now actually convinced that they announced the Francis the Jones-Stipe fight because I put out the thing about the Francis Tyson fight, because I'm told at least one of the sides had no idea it was coming in. In fact, there was a plan in place to announce it during the pay-per-view. So, take that for what it is, as crazy as that sounds. Anyway, should we not take those Dana announcement videos seriously? This question is for New York Rick.
I mean, Ariel kind of said it. Like, no. Like, yes, like most of the time those are going to happen and work out, but sometimes they're not. Like, if you follow Paulo Costa on social media, at no point did he ever promote that he was going to fight Ikram. Like, never. Not one time in the last little bit. He's always constantly been taking shots at and poking at Khamzat Chimaev. So it became pretty obvious to me, at least, like, that was not a fight that Paulo Costa. And by the way, this has happened with Paulo Costa before, right? They announced Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa twice, I believe, and that fight never happened. So I think it depends on the fighter. Depends on the fight. Most of the time they are going to happen, but you do have to be cautious and stick to the reporting and follow the people that know what they're talking about. And
this is what you should
take
do
it with a grain
those,
of salt.
Those announcements. This is what you should do. You listen to them, you watch them, you take them in, and then you wait to see whether your favorite MMA journalist or outlet is able to confirm them. And that's on us, honestly. It's on us to not just, regurgitate it. It's on us to make those extra calls and texts and ask, is this a done deal? Is this not a done deal? Is this legit? Is it not? I would say in those announcements, probably you'll end up with like 90% of the time or 90% of the stuff that is being discussed is legit, probably verbally agreed, maybe not signed, maybe like, hey, we had no idea this was coming out, but yeah, we're in. That's usually what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Very, very rare that they actually know that the announcement is coming out, but they're like, yeah, I guess, what, huh? I'll reach out to people like, did you know this was happening? No, had no idea, but yeah, we're in. That's what you're probably going to get. And then sometimes you're going to get a Paulo Costa situation.
Rick said it like that he hasn't been promoting the fight. I'm looking for the tweet right now. I can't find it, but I want to say he like came out as soon as the fight was announced and was like, I never signed anything. I didn't agree to this. This fight is not happening.
And they still were promoting it, right?
Wait, it's not happening? I can't believe this. Yeah, I mean, soon as...
this weekend's card.
Yeah, as recent as this weekend's card, when it was on there, I was just like, is that fight even happening? Like, why is that even confusing.
On there? He's going to fight October 21st, it seems, against Khamzat. Yeah, I don't even know why Khamzat's doing the Leon stuff.
Sign me up. Yes, stop going after Leon.
Why not? What's the harm?
You have a fight. And it's a very solid fight.
Is Leon Islam happening now?
Is there any... By the way, if there's going to be Islam fighting against another champ, it has to be Volk. And I understand there's less in it for him because he's trying to make the history too. He wants to get the double...
Yeah.
But like Leon versus Islam interests me less than Leon versus Colby. And you guys know how I feel about Leon versus Colby.
You just did the Volk thing.
What'd I say?
You said Volk.
Yeah. Volk.
The guy pointed it out last on the nose.
Volk.
Yeah.
Volk.
Volk. Sorry, I never noticed it. I just noticed it in real time. It was something.
It's my accent.
Yeah.
The only thing I think about this isn't it hilarious how Leon Edwards became the belle of the ball? Like, he was the guy that nobody cared about. Leon Scott, nobody cares about this guy. He's irrelevant. I poke Bilal. Like, all the excuses that everybody made to make Leon irrelevant. Now, two champions. No, sorry. Khamzat's not a champion. A champion and a very highly ranked fighter who is very popular are like, yeah, I want to fight Leon. It's wild. That's the only... Obviously, that's not... I'm not expecting that to happen. But everybody wants to fight Leon. It's nice. Nice spot to be in if you're Leon.
Oh, yeah.
Gold. Everybody wants it.
But, I mean, to me, if it's not going to be Charles versus Islam, it has to be Islam versus Volk. If Volk isn't ready, that makes things... Then I feel like you go back to Charles. The question is, if Charles and Volk aren't ready, then I think you go to Poirier and Gaethje.
A little too.
And what if they're not ready?
There.
A little what?
A little too heavy on the L there, Volk.
I'll find.
What if they're not ready?
Medium.
What if they're too banged up?
Fuck. All right, now we're.
We can talk after 291.
Options.
Yeah,
we're 10 days away.
Get limited.
We can figure things out.
That's three options. I mean, this would be option 4. Then put Paulo Costa in there for freaking sake. By the way, second question here. My second and final question is for Dr. Steezy Styles himself, the always pimpin', never simpin', Connor Burks. As a 16-year-old headed into his junior year, wow, this guy's 16. He said he never missed a Robbie Lawler fight. Like, what are you talking about? Robbie Lawler won his belt when he was like 8. That would be like my son Walter being like, "Oh man, I can't wait for the the freaking BMF fight next weekend." Anyway, shout out to you, man. If this is all legit. As a 16-year-old headed into his junior year, do you have any fashion tips to look snazzy and swagger like you? Wow, how about this? Fashion icon.
My swag is aged. I couldn't fit in high school right now.
Why? You got the cool
like
shirts, cool shoes.
Yeah, cool shirts. Yeah, cool shoes.
What else do you need in high school?
I don't know. I feel like a 16-year-old. Maybe is this a diss on me that I dress like a 16-year-old?
I think
I'm 30.
I think he's a young kid who's like looking for some guidance.
eBay's a big
What? At eBay?
Yeah, you hate eBay stuff. Love eBay stuff.
eBay to me is where you get old pro wrestling tapes.
I wore a shirt from eBay on Monday.
Wait.
Type in. Add in
previously worn?
No. You add in NWT, new with tags.
Wow.
I just got a delivery from eBay yesterday for the 291 card.
I haven't been on eBay probably since 2004, 2005.
Back when it was still
It's
like a
showing.
garage sale.
That's when I would buy. That's when I would buy pro wrestling tapes.
That's insane. I grew up on
VHS
eBay.
compilations.
Grew up on eBay.
So you're suggesting that Jacob go on eBay?
Listen,
Yeah.
you just take a peek. You just take a peek what's on eBay,
With
see
parents'
what's over there.
permission.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you got to get the staples. You got to have the pants you're always going to wear that you can always lean on. You got to have the shirts that you can always lean on. I mean, we can bring in New York Rick here. He's always got the black shirts.
Same.
You gotta have the staples that you can always lean back on, and then you rotate things that are easily matchable. You know, I'm imagining he's not balling on like a big time budget, so we're gonna go to let's go to like an H&M. If we've got a little extra jingle in the pocket, we stop by an Urban Outfitters, something like that. Go to your local mall. Got to get the staples with the shoes as well. I mean, get something that you can just wear with anything. Nice white and black, the Nikes. You know, don't get too crazy of the colors. Subscribe to GQ. You know, I got a GQ subscription ever since then. My portfolio has just elevated itself.
I feel weird. I mean, I feel like I have a bit of a sense of style. No one's asking for my opinion. You know.
I mean, yeah, when winter comes along and we need the flannels to come out the closet.
Flannels, Roots of Fight, get some Roots of Fight gear.
You pull off the Bronsons exceptionally well, I have to say. I've had a hard time styling those.
Really?
Yeah.
They're incredible. They go with everything.
Yeah,
Literally everything.
I agree that they're incredible, but they are harder for me to style.
Oh no, easy for me.
I mean, you walk in, I'm like, wow, he looks great in those. I don't pull them off as well as you.
Do me a favor, Jacob. Go get yourself a nice pair of shorts, preferably, calf length.
Oh, man. And a chain wallet.
He's not even alive when that was in style.
No.
He missed that whole era.
You gotta get the shell toe Adidas.
A little cargo action on the side.
Yeah, get the cargos
cat.
that go down halfway down the calves, some nice thong flip flops.
Tank top, white tank top.
Yeah, and then go get an Abercrombie
Puka
or a
shell,
Hollister.
puka shell necklace.
Puka shells with a Hollister shirt that's one size too small.
Okay,
and
that's
then
not me.
A backwards fitted hat and some
Couple
Oakley
glow
sunglasses.
sticks.
Maybe a 5-panel hat. Those are hot these days. You know? I mean,
or a Von Dutch hat.
no, I never.
Whatever you think's cool, Jacob. There it is.
There it
There's
is.
the wise words of Woodstock.
You know what?
Whatever you think.
That
looks
is the
cool, rock
perfect
that.
answer because it's like what you feel most comfortable in, and if you
Exactly.
feel comfortable, you are going to exude confidence, and then people are going to be like, "Wow, you're really pulling that off.
Yes.
Good for you."
Yes. That was we put that all together. I handed
yeah.
you the rock, and then you put it into eloquent terms,
Yeah,
as you
yeah.
do so often.
Yep. Thank you.
That was good stuff.
No, that was good stuff. And you know what? It should have. It's not, as a wise man named Frank once said, "It is not the clothes that make the man. It is what."
Oh man.
The man that makes the clothes.
There it is.
What is?
There it
Yeah.
is. The man that makes the clothes. So you rock whatever you want. You walk out with your chest puffed out, with your head held high, and people will gravitate towards you. Great question so far. We got halfway through. Going back to the questions now, we say hello to Jason Hagholm, friend of the program. We know him from social media, fellow Canadian. Hello, Ariel. Hope all is well. My question is, What is the latest you can say about the impending sale of Bellator, as it seems that it will happen sooner rather than later, with Bellator not really announcing much past September? Thanks for the great content, as always, and go Bills. Yeah, they're definitely in this transitional period, waiting for that to go through, waiting for the other shoe to drop. I would be very surprised if they're still owned by Viacom come January 1st. Obviously, PFL is very much in the mix. There was some talk of the UFC swooping in on Monday because I think some of the profiles showed up, stemming from our MVP interview on Monday. Some of the profiles showed up on UFC.com. And I thought what was interesting about that was everyone seemed to be going gaga over the idea of, the UFC getting the Bellator fighters. I'm like, you guys never seem to care about the Bellator fighters when they're under the Bellator umbrella. Why are you so excited now? It felt weird to me. Like, Bellator has a great roster right now and the best roster of champions that they've ever had. And it just seemed like everyone was like, oh my God, this is incredible. Like, you guys don't act this way when they're actually fighting under Bellator. I know it's a little different and fresh when it's, a merger, co-promotion type of thing, but that was interesting. PFL in the mix. Interesting time for them. I think it makes the most sense for PFL to buy them. And PFL's TV deal is coming up at the end of this year. And so if they can then buy Bellator and tell anyone out there, hey, we've got Bellator on our, under our umbrella in our portfolio, and we're going to have this influx of new talent and new stars, and maybe even next season, as I suggested on Twitter, where it's like PFL versus Bellator head to head, 8 fighters per weight class, and they go head to head. I think that would be incredible. So it's like 4-on-4. Anyway, we can get into all of that down the line. Right now, end of December, beginning of January would be when is the final. But I think by the fall, we'll have some clarity. I don't think the UFC stuff is real. PFL is still very much in the mix, and we'll see what happens. Abay. Hello, Ariel. I'm finding it hard to believe. No. Oh, no, wait. Yes. Abay. Hello, Ariel. I'm finding it hard to believe that Bellator have dropped the ball so badly to not realize that one of their biggest stars' contracts were expiring, especially when he took no damage last time out, so could have got straight back in. Is there more to this? Is there a potential that we won't see some of the other top earners given until the sale is, quote, fait accompli? Also, well, they just re-signed Patchy Mix and Sergio Pettis. So, that may be his interpretation of it. That they just kind of missed it. Their interpretation may be different, and maybe he's getting a different story. Point is, you would like to think that they knew and that he is worthy of a conversation. I do also think that he has kind of reached his ceiling with them, and so maybe they just wanted to expire it and let it expire and let him go out there and get a contract, and if they want to match it, they can match it. Also, you mentioned possible UFC matchups, but surprisingly didn't mention a potential domestic showdown between him and the champ Rocky Edwards. I mean, I think that we're a ways away from that, to be honest. At least 2, 3, 4 fights. So that would be a natural, but there needs to be several fights before we get to that point. Other fantasy matchups would be Izzy at 185 or Kevin Holland. And if he's looking for a boxing opponent, T Wood seems to always be looking. Much love, your boy Bay. Sure. But I think the 170 matchups that we mentioned, the Wonder Boys, the Pereiras, the Ian Garys, the Jeff Neals, those types would be the ones I would go for first. Newman. Hello, Ariel. Hello. Newman. I feel like the stakes for the upcoming fight between Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje cannot be higher. Both men are 34-year-old former interim lightweight champions who are 0-2 when fighting for the undisputed title. The winner figures to get one last shot at UFC gold, especially if the scenario that we talked about earlier plays out the way in which it could, with this guy not being available and this guy not being available and this guy not being available. While for the loser, it's all but guaranteed that their title hopes are over. Yes, although I feel like I've said that about Dustin Poirier like 3 times, that his title hopes are over. We used to do this about Michael Bisping. New York Rick loves to mention this, and then he eventually won, so, Do you think this will end up being a retirement match, a la Randy Savage versus Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 7? Both of them didn't actually retire after that match. Where the loser of the fight retires from MMA? No, I don't think the loser of the fight is retiring from MMA. They're still in the top 5, still very popular, still performing at a high level, main eventing pay-per-views. They're creating fake belts for them. Why would they? Amy, Ariel, are promoters spending enough time building up Spence versus Crawford? It seems like these key boxing matchups are given less attention than the Jake Paul-esque fights we now see so often. Sad to think that these two bests might not get enough of their flowers, but we're so intrigued by people boxing who aren't the absolute best at boxing. It's an interesting point, Amy, but I would argue that Jake Paul and Nate Diaz are getting attention because of Jake Paul and Nate Diaz. Jake Paul and Nate Diaz are promoting themselves. No one's talking on their behalf. And so if you feel like Jake Paul and Nate Diaz is getting more attention, it's because of Jake Paul and Nate Diaz. And so it's not necessarily the fault of the promoters. It would then be the fault of Spence and Crawford, who aren't exactly, the most colorful, talkative human beings. The appeal here and the sell to me is the fight. It's not the buildup. It's not even the trash talk, which they did actually a pretty good job of that in the 2-leg press conference that we saw LA and New York a few weeks back. There was some fun back and forth there. But they've never been known as those types of fighters. Like Garcia and Davis are way more known for that. Tyson Fury, way more known for that. Even like the Usyks of the world, way more known for that type of theatrics. Spence and Crawford, who can I compare them to? Like in a way, Spence and Crawford are kind of cut from the same cloth as Alex Volkanovski or GSP, where they're just like really, really. Leon Edwards would be another example. Those types of guys. I mean, even to a degree, a Max Holloway, where they're just not going to talk shit. Dustin Poirier, to a degree as well. Like, you love them because of how good they are, not because of all the sizzle. You love them because of the steak. And if you're just even a casual boxing fan, you will know, not to mention a hardcore one, that these are two of the best fighters, top 5. Some might even have them 1 and 2. Most people have one of them as number 1. They're fighting each other at 147 welterweight, which is, long been a glamour division, the same division where the 4 kings used to reside back in the 80s, Hagler, Hearns, Duran, Leonard. And now here you have these 2 undefeated guys fighting for the undisputed title. One man, Spence, has 3 belts. Crawford has the other. And they're going to be able to unify them. And they're fighting with, different promoters by their side. Like, a lot had to happen, clearly, for this fight to get done. And here we are. It's happening in 2 weeks. I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. And so I think you may be feeling that way, Amy, because, Jake Paul and Nate Diaz do a great job of building hype and buzz, especially Jake. That's not their forte. And I don't think anyone's expecting that out of them. I think come July 29th, people are going to be very hyped. And I can't wait to be there. I don't know. Am I allowed to say? Maybe I shouldn't say what I'm doing. But I can't wait to be there. That's going to be exciting. And then I can't wait to be watching, 291 at the same time after. I don't know how that's all going to go. How are we going to process all this? There's those 2 events going on at the same time. Plus, right after, there's Bellator in Japan, which is a great card that's getting no attention whatsoever. How are we going to process all of this? I don't know what to do. Parlay Pals that week is going to be fun, guys. Right?
Parlay boys.
Shit. Who's the favorite, by the way, in Spence Crawford? I think it's Crawford, but is it like big or?
It opened around even, but the line is growing. It's like
for Crawford?
60 now. Yeah, Crawford's becoming a bigger favorite.
Let's see.
Your DraftKings Sportsbook has currently as a -155 favorite.
Wow. What do they have? I'm seeing Jake Paul -340 at this point.
-330, yeah.
Wow.
He is coming back +245.
Jake Paul. What was he trying? Wow. So against Tommy Fury, he was a -164, it seems like. Against Anderson Silva, he was a -265. Against Rahman, -245, -286. Against Woodley, 205. Woodley 1. They don't have Askren here. Oh, wait, they do. -175 against Askren? What? Damn.
The Rockman line stands out amongst all those. That's an absurd That's an absurd line.
Yo, he opened against Aninson Gibb, his first pro fight. He opened as a plus 100. He closed as a minus 300. So as of right now, he's a bigger favorite against Nathan Diaz than he was against Aninson Gibb.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but that's the first fight.
I know, but geez Louise.
You don't know anything about him.
We had no idea what was going to happen.
I know, but that's kind of, still kind of crazy. It's Nate Diaz.
Yeah. I mean, one of the
sparring
worst
footage hasn't helped Nate.
Was Silva minus 130. And then he closed like plus 300 or something.
Yeah, you guys were like taking that to the bank.
I was all in on Silva.
Rick was taking
not as much Connor. I was heavy on Silva.
Yo, when he was like, he doesn't know. You remember that what he said after the weigh-ins? Like he has no idea. I was like, oh, it's over. It's over. It's done. The Spider's coming back circa 2009, and then he freaking. I mean, he fought well. It was
a pretty close fight.
No, it was a close fight.
He got knocked down in the 8th.
Yeah.
He did what Anderson Silva does, played around too much, and just it was Paul's fight to lose.
By the way, who do you like in the Spence Crawford fight?
I like Bud, but the more that plus money is getting on Spence, the more I feel like that's the value.
That's what I'm saying. If Spence gets to he's at plus 120 right now. Like if he gets to a plus 150, plus 160, how can you not take him?
Right.
This one of the things, and I said this on No Bets Barred actually, and I live by this philosophy. There's certain times where evaluating the matchup is obviously very important. No, let me backtrack. At all times, evaluating the matchup is very important. But there's certain times where if you are getting a fighter of a certain caliber, a special type of fighter, and in this case, I think Errol Spence is that special, at a line that just seems unbelievable, sometimes you just take that and ride with it. And that was one of the things I said about John Jones and Cyril Gane. Yes, there's questions to be answered, but if you can get John Jones at, what was he, less than 2-1, closer to almost even money,
yeah,
you just take it sometimes. You getting that type of value on a special fighter.
I was gonna say it's all about the value. Maybe you don't think they're gonna win, but you think they have a pretty decent shot at doing it. And if you're getting 2-1 odds, then you have to take it.
This feels like the values on Spence. The more that line starts to climb and toward Bud, the value seems to be on Spence. But I say that
next week.
I say that's favoring Bud in the fight. I favor Bud.
I ask you this question, Rick, because I know you love boxing and you're a longtime fan. Which fight are you more looking forward to? Poirier, Gaethje, or Crawford Spence? Crawford Spence is generational, right? But I know we reside in the MMA world, so I don't think there's a wrong answer here.
I can't pick.
What
I've been beating the drum that Poirier and Gaethje was the fight I wanted to see most this year out of any possible fight.
And you can't
in
pick.
MMA. That boxing fight is just as special. I really cannot pick. I don't. There's no answer because I'm looking forward to both of those the most in their respective sports.
God, I can't wait, and I really hope they don't happen at the exact same time. That would suck.
Yeah, I'm hoping the boxing fight happens later. Yeah,
I'm praying
later. UFC. I'm hoping the boxing happens before.
No, I guess big time boxing. That's not going off till
big time boxing. Main event isn't starting at 1. Boxing has been doing a better job these days of main event being 11:30.
It's gonna cross over with something.
Not any ESPN Plus broadcasts I've ever seen. They go back to the desk for 3 hours of talk before the main event.
This is showtime, brother. This is showtime. Shit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but then it might not work out in our favor as fight fans. I hope. Man.
Okay, if they're both happening at the same time,
2 screens. There's no option. There's no other option.
No, who's getting the audio?
Both.
What?
I'm gonna listen to both.
Party.
Oh, that's right. Oh, fuck. What are you going to do, by the way? Are you going to do a double watch party? I didn't even think of this.
Yeah, we're going to have a second screen in there.
Wow. Can you do this?
For this entire time.
Can you do this? Can you do 2 screens at the same time?
Yeah, I can. It'll just be like me and watching in my living room.
Right. What are you going to comment on? No, I'm being serious right now. From a production standpoint, what are you going to do? Are you going to go back and forth? What if the boxing is happening during a lull in the UFC or vice versa? Are you going to start scoring boxing and stuff?
No, not scoring it, but like watching it. Yeah.
Commenting on it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely be the sideshow to the UFC.
Well, it's a UFC watch party, but
Yeah.
is this the first time that there's been a UFC pay-per-view and a major boxing at the same time since you guys have been doing this?
Yeah. Major boxing. Like Teofimo fought.
Yeah. No. This is
And
major.
Shakur has fought, but
I wish
like
it was
major. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish it was this weekend. And it would line up perfectly.
Perfect. Yeah.
UFC London would be ending around like 8 o'clock.
Oh, this would have
Go
been
get some
great.
dinner.
Yeah.
Then we shift the focus to Spence Crawford.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do for Diaz, and Paul, because it's happening same time as SummerSlam?
Yeah, that'll be a 2 TV setup as well, no doubt. No doubt. Are we all getting up and watching Inoue on Tuesday morning?
Oh, I can't wait. It's one of my favorite things to do. Tuesday morning Inoue in Japan. It's the
I'm
fucking
looking forward to it.
That's a big time fight too.
Huge.
By the
Are
way,
you kidding me? Massive.
What is I just saw this pop up here.
Inoue's growing, man. Minus 340 now.
He's what?
Minus 340.
Wow, really? Minus 340.
Yeah, he opened like minus 220. He's
he's another one. He's pretty special. He's
pretty
pretty damn special.
He's amazing. He's like their version of DJ. Small dude who just like freaking wrecks everyone. Wow, I'm seeing here Joe Joyce is a plus 110 in the rematch. That's crazy. Wasn't he like a minus 700 or 800 in the first fight?
Yeah, but he got.
No, I know. But he got starched.
Minus 105.
I know. Minus 105? Oh, you see minus 105? I'm seeing plus 110.
Oh, yeah? Where are you seeing that? ProBoxingOdds.com?
No. Yes, exactly. That's where I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I know. You gotta scrap it. You gotta lose it.
Wow, Katie and Underdog. There's so many big fights.
They fell off so hard. Archer Beterbiev, a couple weeks too.
Big one in Quebec City.
Alexander Usyk, yeah, minus 1,400. Crazy.
Usyk's a bigger favorite against Dubois than Fury against Ngannou.
Insane.
I mean, that tells you my read on that isn't necessarily on the Usyk side. It's more on the Tyson Fury side. Like, probably still a lot of value that can be squeezed out of that one.
Keyshawn Davis minus 10,000 if you're interested.
Wow. That's the best. I love that shit.
Add 1 cent of value to the parlay.
Wow.
Canelo minus 425 over Charlo.
Some good shit. What a time. What a time to be. Boxing's dead, though. They have a lot of things they need to figure out. Steve Wilson. Hey, Ariel. Would love your predictions for the upcoming Premier League season. How do you think Forrest will do? Forrest are magic on and off the pitch. Forrest are magic on and off the pitch. Can't wait. I watched their preseason debut against Notts County. I didn't watch yesterday. I was following on Twitter. I was taping my other stuff. Their game yesterday. A little bit nervous about the Brendan Johnson situation. We have Aston Villa and Brentford coming after him. I mean, like, really? Talk about a lateral, if not, like, when I say lateral, is that the word I'm looking for? Horizontal move? I mean, Brentford? Really? What is Brentford? Or even a little bit of a decline? He can't, and I know they could come with the, $50 million price tag, whatever. Brendan's one of our own. He's one of our own. You know what I love about this offseason for Forrest, if I may? Sure, last season around this time, or last year around this time, we weren't even paying attention to them, but we've obviously done our research. We're all in. We've said this time and again. They were signing everyone left, right, and center. They've actually been extremely patient. They've been rumored, Willian, Fulham, this, that, and the other, but they've actually not done anything. They're being patient. They're biding their time. We're talking to Man United right now about Dino Henderson, which would be a nice positive to have him back in the mix full time. But I like that we're going with the guys that we had for the most part last year. We've had to shed some weight. Danilo is going to be a huge star. Obviously, Morgan Gibbs-White, massive deal. I hope that we get Brendan back, Dino back. So some of the big names from last year are still going to be around. I feel good. Love the new kits. Love Adidas getting into the mix. That's great. Wish it was the old Adidas logo to go really retro because they were the sponsors back in the day, but alas, they don't really do that sort of thing. So I'm psyched. Can't wait. Boys coming back on Sunday. I've not missed a day of emails. I've been sending them all the transfer news. I can tell you whatever you want about Declan Rice and Onana and Sandro Tonali and all these people. I can tell you everything you want about all these people. I'm a little bit sad, guys. Big opportunity. Spence Crawford. July 28th at Red Bull Arena. By the way, why do they call it arena, not stadium? It's a stadium. It's not an arena. It's like an open-air stadium. Why do they do that? It bothers me. It's like Rogers Center. Rogers Center is more of a stadium. It should be Rogers Stadium. Anyway, July 28th, Red Bull Arena. It's Brighton against Newcastle. And I really wanted to take them there, but unfortunately I'm going to be away, so we'll have to go to another actual Premier League game in the future. The day before they come back at MetLife, it's Arsenal against Man United. You going to that, GC? This Saturday. You know that. Just Saturday, it's Arsenal Man United.
No, there was actually an advertisement in the elevator.
That's big-time stuff.
Work today. Yeah, I can't, though. Wedding. Out of town.
Oh, I thought you were going to say UFC London.
And, of course, obviously UFC London,
Right.
but I won't even be in the state.
Man, Arsenal Man United, that would have been gigantic for us. Rice and Saka and the boys. Actually, tonight is Arsenal against the MLS All-Stars. Actually, yesterday I was watching the MLS skills competition. It's actually really fun. Did you see these clips?
No.
Oh, my God. This stuff is great.
Missed it.
Anyway, how do you think Forest will do? I think they'll be fine. I think they'll stay up. I think we're going to go. I think we're going to be in the 15 to 10 range. That's my prediction. Do you think Man City already have the league in the bag? They're obviously the team to beat. There's no doubt about that. I think Arsenal got way better. Declan Rice, huge. I think United got a little bit better. Tottenham is, they're kind of in shambles, and if they lose Harry Kane, that's going to be a massive blow. Shout out to Burnley. I'm happy for them. Shout out to JJ Watt. Excited about them being in the mix. Shout out to Sheffield United, and of course, Luton Town with their great stadium, which isn't even ready to host Premier League games. Any dark horses for the European places? Who do you anticipate going down? Well, I think West Ham isn't going to be as good after losing Declan. Everton, obviously, they're going to bottle it for sure. Is Liverpool going to be as good? Maybe a little bit better than last year. Figured I'd ask an entirely football-related question, as my MMA questions of the past never seem to make the cut, and I'm feeling sorry for myself. Well, there you go, Steve. You made it through. Still love the show, guys. Thanks for all you do to entertain us mere mortals. Yeah. I don't know if this was his prediction, but he has Tottenham, West Ham, and Wolverhampton in relegation. But I think that's just like the way. Is that possible, or is this might be? This actually might be Lewis's prediction, and I think he might be taking the piss. He has four. What does he have? Forest 16th. Get out of here. Tony McGregor up next. Greetings, Ariel. I think we can all agree that having a guest in studio versus on Zoom is significantly a better experience for all. Yeah, just look at today. The likes of Eddie Hearn in studio is hard to beat. Absolutely. Feels like you get to know the interviewee a lot better. It's just a different vibe, a different energy. There's nothing like it. And by the way, you notice they all come in and they're like, this is nice. I think they all think that it's some rinky-dink operation here. Has me thinking, you guys have done a great job in getting the listeners fully invested in the whole crew over the past couple of years. Why not bring it to the next level? What about trialing a Parlay Pals segment in studio at the desk with the main man, Helwani? I feel like we are missing a trick here, not having GC and Yerk Rick chopping it up with you across the table, especially when they are just in the other room. Keep Mysterious Frank running the ship from the skies. Could be a game changer. Shout out Frank Warren. Keep me posted. Mr. Mystery Balls writes, because when the cam is on them, it's Ariel's chance to relax, eat, text. It's a 4+ hour show. Is Ariel wearing a diaper? Wow. No, I feel like they're right there. I feel like I'm talking to them here. I think I like to be able, in the spirit of the Howard Stern show, I like to be able to just ask them a question and they jump in, as opposed to like the whole production of them just coming in every time. So I think this works. What do you guys think?
We know that you just don't want to be around us.
Well, that's
a little bit cramped in there. We don't need all three.
Yeah, all three of us every time, like the whole freaking.
We're gonna walk all the way in. What am I gonna do? Hold a stick mic as well?
Yeah, a whole cavalcade of stars coming in here. What is this?
I'm also not here every time we do Parlay Boys, so it doesn't even make sense.
We know. We've noticed that.
We saw.
Like it's actually feasibly not possible.
What about the birthday party we had on
stuff,
on Monday? That was nice. I got my own dish. The cake was fantastic. Rick abstained from having the cake, which I thought was a little bit,
I took the entire cake home.
Yeah, did you finish it? Yes, he did.
I'm sorry. You were on something there. Continue. A little bit. What?
Everyone has a birthday slice. I mean, you got to. It's good luck.
Should I have instead complained about the cake and maybe try to make everybody switch their plans? And
no, actually,
that is a.
By the way, what did I say about the cake, Frank? I thought the cake was fantastic. I never had a cake like that before. What was it? German chocolate?
Did look good.
Chocolate. It was
unbelievable.
Brought it home. You guys should have seen me. I realized I really needed to make this train, and I checked my my app to see when it was coming. I realized I didn't have long, so I had to run through the streets of New York with that gigantic cake box just to make the train. But got it home safely. Used Andy's advice, froze like 80% of it.
Smart.
So yeah, I'll go back to the well for months to come. Get
It
home
looked
also,
tremendous.
by the way, Frank kept being like, give it to your roommate, give it to your roommate. Get home, roommate's like, yeah, I hate coconut. I'm out.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's just me going at it.
I see a tweet here from Michael Benson, who loves to aggregate. So who's this Michael Benson on Twitter? Do you guys know who he is?
Boxing guy?
Yeah, but he always aggregates
Boxing
stuff.
aggregator, the man.
I mean, I guess we're under the MMA fighting umbrella, but he never credits the show. It's annoying. You know, this time he tweets, Oscar De La Hoya has stated that Ryan Garcia made $30 million plus for the Gervonta Davis fight, and then he ats MMA fighting. I mean, I can't complain.
My read on this is because it's taggable. That's my read. He tries to tag whatever he can tag unless it's not available.
Hour? 7,000 followers.
No, like
tweets
tag.
since 2018.
That account.
At the
Yeah.
MMA hour.
No, but that's not a real account. I mean, there's nothing on
That's
there.
me. I have that account.
Yeah.
No, but there's nothing in it. There's nothing on it.
So what? Give us the plug, bro. Anyway, Ryan Garcia quote tweeted it. The fight made so the tweet was about the 30 million. I guess that was news. Was that news? The fight made over 100 million for the event, Ryan says. I told everyone that when you choose to make the fights that the people want, it will create big events. Not only that, but we showed everyone how to promote a fight in this generation, and I'm extremely proud to be a part of the event. So how about that? Ryan showing love, I feel like. Oh, and then he tweeted later, 30 million, baby. So maybe by the way, is it possible that we've bridged the gap?
Mended the fences?
Yeah. I find it weird.
Doesn't sound.
Seems like it.
I find it weird that you can't talk to him. What is that all about?
Yeah, based on what Oscar said about the updates in the pending lawsuit, I don't think that the fences have been mended just yet. I think they're still.
Oh, I feel like he made that clear. They have not been mended, and I don't know if they're ever going to.
Yeah.
But he's under contract still.
It's sad to see this happen. Yeah, he said he's going to go to court, all this stuff. Jamal, 2020. Aloha, Ariel. Wednesday is National Hot Dog Day, and I hope you and the crew are able to celebrate. This day gets me thinking, what is the best way to enjoy a hot dog? When I'm feeling fancy, I love a good Chicago dog, but when I need some sort of comfort food, some basic chili and cheese definitely hits the spot. What's the crew's favorite way to enjoy a hot dog? I'm guessing GC likes one of those Atlanta Braves hot dogs with a pulled pork and coleslaw on top. They are quite tasty. Do you like that hot dog, GC?
Funny you say that. I was going to say you guys are going to judge me, but yeah, slaw dogs. Fantastic.
Pulled pork and coleslaw.
No. There's no pulled pork. I know what he's talking about at the Brave Stadium. It's a famous restaurant that a lot of local Atlanta people hate called the Varsity, but they have these things called slaw dogs that are just unbelievable. I could eat like 5 at once. They're really that good.
So what is your go-to right now if you had to have a hot dog?
And I can have any hot dog in the world?
Yeah.
Slaw dog.
Wow. What about you, Eric?
Well, before does he give a guess for everybody?
No.
No, it sounded like he was giving out guesses for everybody. I want to know what his guess.
That's it. We're done.
Just for GC?
Just
he
for
picked?
GC.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good guess. I'm
It
not
was
going to lie.
probably the one.
I mean, not
guess,
bad.
man.
Not bad.
Chili
I'm
cheese
simple.
dogs are also good.
What is
Love a
yours?
chili cheese dog, but my go-to is simple. It's like mustard relish.
Nice.
Keep it simple.
Can I tell you, I've never had a chili cheese dog. I've never had a chili dog.
If you're going to
You're
go
missing
chili,
out.
you might as well go chili cheese.
Okay.
Unless you don't eat dairy.
Little bit of mustard.
Frank, what about you?
Chicago.
What is that?
So it's got a pickle. It's got some peppers. It's got some weird neon green
Yeah.
relish
Neon green.
that you can actually buy separately. I think it's from Classic. Celery salt and onion. Oh, and then there's poppies on the bun.
Was that all off the dome? You weren't reading something? That was pretty impressive.
You see this device here? The audio mixer? It has hot dog recipes on the bottom right.
That's impressive. That is impressive.
Off the dome.
Can I say something? And I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to, like, this isn't a bit or anything like that. I've never understood it has to be mustard on the hot dog. My go-to is the same every single time I have a hot dog, and I'll be honest, it's not often these days. It used to be, when you're a kid. It's ketchup and relish.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there are some people who act like ketchup on a hot dog is the worst thing on the planet.
Yeah, we're getting into the well-done steak territory.
Ketchup on a hot dog is not a big deal.
Oh, really?
Ketchup on a hot dog is not a big deal.
People get pissed when you put ketchup on a hot dog. I like it.
I like ketchup on a hot dog, but not with relish. I feel like those flavors don't go good together. I like the mustard relish combo, but I'll do
taking mustard over ketchup for sure. But I will also do ketchup.
Oh my God!
Yeah, no doubt.
On a hot dog with relish to me is the go-to. There's nothing better.
I'm not gonna lie, dude's got me craving a hot dog.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
They do this on purpose.
Yeah. Well, what about
now we know.
What's a Boston hot dog for Joe? Is it a sloppy Joe on top or what?
Yeah, you put an entire sandwich on top of it.
No, you put the meat. You put the sloppy meat.
The sloppy meat.
No.
He's chiming in.
Boston Hot Dog Company.
Is
what
it?
goes on a Boston hot dog? Baked beans, crumbled bacon, and chopped onions.
Come on, you got
a call from the police.
Wait, is that you guessing or is that you reading?
He's seeing it off the audio mixer.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
I'm looking over Frank's shoulder. Is there a Boston style hot dog? Served steamed. I'm already out. Unlike many.
Oh,
steamed. You probably eat a lot of it steamed.
Yeah, I know. Most of the time they're steamed, but I prefer a grilled if I'm going to cook it myself. Connecticut style hot dog?
What is that?
Which is what?
I don't think that's right. Beef and pork packaged in natural casing.
Gross.
Sheep
the Boston
intestine.
Hot dog is whatever the police give you.
By the way, I do like a veggie dog.
Aren't they all veggie?
What? What are you talking
You guys
about?
ever had a New York dog?
What do you mean? Are they?
Yeah.
Homemade onion relish, sauerkraut, brown mustard, nestled
Pretty
into
tasty.
a soft bun.
That's kind of that's in the range of mine. I like that New York thing.